Well, hey guys, what's up? It's your boy, one and only AR Legends, and yeah, guys, today I am back with the next part of what if Naruto was neglected by his family and decided to take the position of Hokage from Minato by force. So, yeah, guys, it is gonna be pretty OP of a series, and if you guys are new to the channel and have not subscribed yet, please, guys, do so. It would be really helpful to me. And yeah, guys, I have already made the very first part of this series. If you guys have not checked it out, please, guys, do so and hopefully you guys will like it. As per the next part, the like goal is gonna be, let's see about it, 120 likes and 50 comments. Do that and I shall upload the next part as quick as possible. And yeah, guys, I have also put the link of my Instagram as well as the link of the channel of my friend within the description below as well. So please follow me on Instagram and watch the videos as well. So yeah, guys, without any further ado, let's start the video. Last time we left off as we saw that how Minato along with Kushina, Jiraiya, Tsunade had just came back after 8 years of training of both Menma and Naruto, who are both at the age of 16 already graduated as Janins and on their way at the age of 17, while on the other hand at the meantime, third Hokage and Shigaku Nara were taking care of the duties of the Hokage, while on the other hand, Minato, Kushina, as well as Jiraiya Tsunade got the messages from all the summoning animals that how they have a premonition that a child shall born who shall have the power of a destruction as well as the power of the light, and he will decide the fate of the shinobi world, either the utter destruction of it or he will save it from itself and from each other. While on the other hand, they decided that it was Menma and Naruto since both of them had the power of the Kyuubi and the yin and yang of the Kyuubi, the light and the darkness and destruction. So they decided that both Menma and Naruto had to be together, otherwise someone might come in between them and they might become enemies in the future. So they decided to pay more attention to Menma and Naruto, always keeping them together and keeping Naruto separate because they knew that even Naruto could come in between them. Maybe both Menma and Naruto would both Menma and Naruto might have a stronger bond than Menma and Naruto, or might Naruto had stronger bond with Naruto than Menma, then it would be trouble for the future. So they decided to separate them. While on the other hand, Naruto tried to be a, you can say, a good brother to both Menma and Naruto in the beginning, but it was not to be. So he decided to pay all of his attention, all of his focus only on one thing, that was the position of the Hokage. That was his dream. Despite all the villagers not liking him, even attacking him time to time, he was still, you can say, wanted to be the Hokage of the village. So he started to train on his own, but that was taken away from him on the night of his 8th birthday. Well, it was mostly the birthday of Menma and Naruto because he was always forgotten at that day. It was always the birthday of Menma and Naruto, not the triplets Menma, Naruto, and Naruto, even though he was the oldest, but still. He did not care about it. He did not care that he did not have the love of his family, the admiration of his siblings. No, he did not care about it. The only thing he cared about was his dream in the future, which he wanted to achieve. He did not care when his father announces that Naruto would be the future clan head of the Uzumaki clan. After all, it was his, you can say, birthright. He did not care when his father announces that Menma would be the future clan head of the Namakase clan. He simply did not care about those things, but he did care when his father announces that Menma will be the next Hokage as he will train him personally for the position. Naruto knew that only the Hokage can choose the next Hokage, though the Elder Council does have a bit of say in it, though it is not necessary since Konoha in every word of the meaning is a dictatorship and the word of the Hokage is law. So, therefore, his dream was taken from him at that day. All of it, all the loneliness, all the pain he ever felt in his life turned into rage. Rage at his family, rage at his father, rage at his sibling. All of them, they have taken away his one dream, which he wanted in his life more than anything. He did not ask for his parents for anything and decided to train on his own. Along the way, he was trained by, you can say, many shinobi like the Might Guy as well as, you can say, the third Hokage himself, who, while on the other hand, Minato, Kushina were, along with the help of Jiraiya and Tsunade, were focusing on Menma and Naruto since they were the children of destiny according to them, as well as, you can say, the whole premonition thing, as After the whole training ended, Minato met with the third Hokage who told him that Naruto is not only has already passed the academy but already is in the Ambu, as Minato was at utter shock when he saw the bingo book of his son who was a double aspiring shinobi just like him, but his ability is said to be unknown. And the only thing that was written that no one has ever touched him in any of their battle. He came back without even a you can say scratch on his body, and he was said to be, you can say, fully on site order. So he was really powerful, but to his utter shock, in the whole council room, Naruto challenged him, provoking an ancient law which was put there by the first and second Hokage of a law which is still followed by the clan heads in their own respective clans and still to be followed within Konoha as well. Minato simply cannot, you can say, denounce the challenge as it has to be followed as Minato had to fight Naruto. So that was the last part where we left off as Minato had figured out that Naruto was using a space-time ninjutsu as Minato, no matter what he may actually do, simply cannot touch him. So yeah guys, that was the last part. Please check it out if you guys have not seen it. So yeah, let's start the video. As Naruto was looking toward the sky as lightning was shining over the sky as black thunder, as well as you can say clouds were gathered there. As Naruto was releasing his chakra, most of the shinobi were on their knees and trying to stand up, while on the other hand Minato was struggling to even, you can say, stand still. While on the other hand, Naruto had a small smirk on his face as he started to flew in the mid-air, shocking Minato even further as he flew into the sky where lightning was still dancing around as all the lightning struck Naruto, and then it started to change form as it started to convert into a dragon. Not like, you can say, Sasuke's Kirin dragon in the original canon. No, it was the original, like Shenron type dragon, as his body was floating, as it could be seen, you can say, in between clouds and all that, as Naruto was at the midst of it, as all of its energy was gathered into his face, as Naruto looked towards his so-called father with a cruel smirk on his face. He already knew what Minato would do, and if he so desired, he can stop that Haraishan of his as well. But it would be fun. After all, he does want the entertainment as well. And with that, he launched himself toward the ground as the dragon roared. As his roar was deafening, as shocking most of the shinobis, as barrier once again, you can say, opened up, as Naruto's technique came down along with his fist together, as Minato quickly flashed away, as for a moment, he felt a pull, like something was stopping him, but thankfully his Horoishian worked and he was able to teleport as not to smirk at that, just like he thought he can stop the Horoishian if he so desire. After all, Horoishian is nothing but a traveling means, a teleportation, but what if the marker which is placed is at infinite distance, then there is no teleporting at all. So Naruto can stop Minato's teleportation without little to no trouble whatsoever, but he does want a bit of fun as well, as the lightning dragon slammed into the ground as it made a crater 10 times the size of, you can say, Tsunade's full power punch, as Tsunade was at utter shock as lightning was dancing around the area as a gigantic crater was formed like a Biju Dama had just gone off at that place, shocking most of the shinobis there as all the barrier covered area was literally destroyed as Minato was at the very edge of it now. He was at utter shock. If that technique were to hit anything, hell, even an army, it would be no more. While on the outside, Jiraiya, Tsunade, all of them were at utter shock as they looked towards, you can say, each other. While on the other hand, Kushina was trembling. That technique, if it were to hit Minato, Minato would have been dead. There was no question about it. But how? How could he make such a technique and launch it towards his own father? Was his anger really that great? As she thought in her mind, as she was still thinking that Naruto was only angry because he was neglected in his whole life, not knowing that Naruto did not care about being neglected whatsoever. He has long since you can say forgotten them, and his only goal is to achieve his dream, and that was the position of the Hokage. And Minato was on his way, and soon enough he will be crushed like anything that will be in his way and that ever was in his way, as he looked towards Minato with a cruel smirk on his face as Minato had a shiver going through his body To be honest, he was really scared at the moment. All the crater area, the lightning was still dancing around as Naruto simply chuckled as he started to walk towards Minato in a slow fashion as Minato bring out his three-pronged kunais as he threw all over the place, marking them even further as Naruto simply shook his head as Minato flashed in front of Naruto with a kunai in his hand, already knowing that it was futile. But to his surprise, Naruto grabbed his hand and pulled him in front of him as his punch was already ready as Minato quickly flashed away to one of his kunai as Naruto simply chuckled as he simply shook his head. Well, as he looked towards where Minato has teleported as Naruto smirked, well father, I would like to give you a small gift. Hope you like it. As Naruto started to gather a bit of chakra in his hand, but then suddenly it formed a Rasengan as Minato was really shocked along with Jiraiya and you can say Naruto and Menma. After all, these are the only people who know how to perform Rasengan as Jiraiya said, but how? How did he learn the Rasengan? It is simply not possible for him. Did Minato teach him? As Shishibushi said, no, Minato was all along with them, so Minato did not taught him the Rasengan. But how? As Minato was also shocked as he said, what? But how? As Naruto simply raised an eyebrow. Huh, so this is your prize technique, huh? Right? Well, it is not all that difficult. After all, it is just a rotating and condensed chakra. Anyone with a great chakra control can learn it, though it would require a bit of time for most people. But anyways, this is nothing special. Well, father, hope you like the surprise. Suddenly, the Rasengan started to grow and grow and grow. Suddenly, you can say shadow covered the most of the area there that they were present. As Jiraiya's eyes widened, it was even bigger than his Odama full power Sage Mode Rasengan. And same with Minato's case, it was bigger and it was still growing as Minato took a step back in utter shock. And then suddenly something happened which none of them were actually expecting. The Rasengan started to change color as his color started to change into dark red as Minato's eyes widened when he felt the heat that was coming from the Rasengan. No, he had added his element of fire into it as Minato took a step back at utter shock and fear in his eyes. Clearly, he has tried even while training Menma Naruko, he was training himself as well. He tried to improve on the Rasengan, but to no avail. He was able to add a bit of lightning chakra into it as the Rasengan vanishes with that, but other than that, nothing. He was unable to do so. Same was the case with Jiraiya Sensei. But Naruto was able to do so. Someone who he has never taught the Rasengan or never planned to taught him to begin with was able to do so. As he took a step back even further when Rasengan heat was spreading all over the place while on the other hand Naruto was standing like there was no heat whatsoever. He smirked towards Minato cruelly while on the other hand Jiraiya was awestruck. This was not how it was supposed to be. Minato should have already ended the battle, but this kid was able to make a even larger Rasengan with his normal chakra than his full power. You can say Sage Mode Odama Rasengan like it was nothing, and being able to add his element and being able to control it to a level that you do not even feel the effect of the backlash of such a powerful technique as Naruto simply smirked towards Minato as the technique started to get condensed and condensed and condensed even further to a point that it was the same size of a small bullet as Minato's eyes widened when Naruto pointed the technique towards him as he quickly flashed away as the technique launched towards him. And then it came. A tsunami of fire engulfed the area, scorching the land, destroying. Utter destruction followed the area as Minato had barely been able to, you can say, teleport out of the way. The whole area of the barrier was literally destroyed. There was nothing left as fire was burning all over the place as Minato was also burnt at his arm badly as he was now sweating what he should do. The whole place was engulfed by red flames, and then he noticed someone was walking through the flames like they were nothing as Naruto was walking out as his blue eyes were shining within the fire as Minato was now far, you can say, after a really long time, he felt fear in his, you can say, gut and his body. As while on the other hand, you can say Jiraiya, Tsunade, Kushina, the shinobis that were surrounding them, especially you can say Kakashi, who has mastered over you can say 1,000 technique, could not believe their eyes. Minato was actually losing, and that technique, that Rasengan, the Odama Rasengan itself was a S-rank technique, and he has added a fire element on it. And not only that, being able to condense that amount of chakra after such a you can say nature and shape manipulation, it was not possible. Even Tsunade cannot do it, and she had perfect chakra control. How is this even possible? As Jiraiya said. While on the other hand, Tsunade had no words for it. While on the other hand, Menma was getting angrier and angrier. Why? His father was entertaining this loser. He should have already ended the battle. Surely Naruto is not giving him trouble, right? He must be, you can say, feeling sorry for that loser. Same where you can say, while on the other hand, Ruko was also shocked. Surely her father is not using his full power, right? As she looked towards Tsunade Bachan, what is going on here? Why father is not using his full power as, and why is he not using the Horizon? As Tsunade was also confused why Minato was not using the Horizon. He was only using it to get away from the attacks. Was he, you can say, trying not to hurt Naruto? But why? As while on the other hand, Tsunade Kushina was silent. That technique, it was also meant to kill. Was Naruto really trying to kill his own father? But why? As she knows that she what she did, she knows when she played favorite with her children, she had to do it. After all the summoning animals had the same premonition. Same was the case with her own personal summons, the butterfly summoning contract which she got from the whole, you can say, Uzushio Gakure, though not powerful, it still has its effect, especially with the Genjutsu department. So she also got the same, you can say, premonition from her own summoning contract, and same was the case with the other contracts they also possess. As she had to do it, she had to protect the world as well as her family, and for that, if she had to, you can say, neglect Naruto for some time, then she had to do it for the good of the world, right? After all, the good of the world outweighs the happiness of a single child. She was still thinking that Naruto was angry, that he was neglected, and that is the only reason he's doing it, not knowing that Naruto did not even care about them anymore. As Naruto simply looked towards Minato with a small smirk on his face. Did you like my present, father? Though I'm pretty hurt that you did not caught it. After all, it was specially made for you. As Minato took a step back as he bring out his kunais once again, as Naruto said, alright with that pesky technique, it is getting annoying, you getting away. As Naruto made a single hand sign as Minato suddenly freeze in his own area, as he could feel his pull to the technique of the Russian simply vanishes as he looked towards Naruto. What did you do? As Naruto simply smirked, well, you already know what I'm doing, don't you, father? As Minato grated his teeth, he simply cannot feel the pull of the horizon. Even the kunais which he is actually holding, he simply cannot feel the pull like it is infinite distance away from him. He simply cannot feel it. So therefore, there is no teleportation anymore. As he gritted his teeth on that, he's getting out of option. There is only few options he has left to win this battle, and he has to do it. As he nodded at that, alright Naruto, you get your point. I don't know how you actually did it and what kind of techniques you have developed, but I will not be taken down that easily. As Minato, you can say, bite his thumb and quickly started to go through hand sign, summoning jutsu. And then there were large three puff of smoke all around the place as Jiraiya had a small smile on his face. Huh, well it seemed that Minato is finally getting serious. Don't worry, Naruto. Naruto is done for. Even with that dangerous technique, I bet that his low on chakra, he does not have the power of the QB, so therefore he does not have you guys reserve. Sooner or later, he will get out of chakra and then Minato will take him down. After he used those powerful and dangerous techniques, I bet that he's already out of chakra and this battle is already over. As Tsunade was not too sure about it, especially by the look only on the face of that kid. He was not even started as she looked towards, you can say, the third Hokage who was looking calmly towards the battle as she started to walk towards the third as he said, Sensei, mind telling me that about the rumors I have been hearing that you were the one who have taught that brat. As third Hokage looked towards Tsunade as he said, well, the rumors are quite true, if I must say, Tsunade-chan. As Tsunade raised an eyebrow. Oh, really now? So you really thought the brat? Do tell me, why is that? As third Hokage sighed, well, it is nothing to wonder about. You can already see the potential and the power he has gained only in few years, and he has yet to reach his full youth. Just imagine what he will be able to do. As so Kushina decided to speak up before Tsunade can say anything. But why did you not stop him from challenging Minato? Naruto will lose. You already know how powerful Minato actually is. As Tadukage looked towards Kushina, Kushina, you do not know how powerful Naruto actually is, and as powerful as Minato kun actually is, I'm afraid this battle belongs to Naruto kun. As you can say, Kushina's eyes widen at that, but Minato is the Hokage. As third Hokage sigh, well, Kushina, not for long. As he looked towards, you can say, the three summons that has just arrived, while on the other hand, Jiraiya has heard everything as he simply scoffed at that. Keep dreaming, Sensei. You and I both know that I'm a better Sensei, and I have taught Minato everything that I know. And trust me when I say it, Naruto does not stand a chance that now the Gamabunta and the other, you can say, toads are here. They are gonna crush him. As third Hokage simply shook his head. That is a mistake, Jiraiya. He shouldn't have summoned those animals, and now, if he were not to dispel them, they would be a price to pay by the toads themselves. Mark my word, Jiraiya, this is not gonna end well, as Jiraiya was really confused as well as Tsunade and Kushina, while on the other hand third Hokage looked towards the summoning animals as Gamabunta arrived to the area. As he looked around to see that he was in Konoha, but then he noticed the ground, which was still, some areas were on still fire, and other areas still had lightning. You can say dancing around the area. He looked towards Minato. Minato, why have you summoned me here? Is Konoha under attack? As Minato simply shook his head. Welcome, Bunta. I have summoned you for a battle, and no, Konoha is not under attack. I am currently in the midst of a battle, and I need your help to win it. As Kamabunta looked towards Minato, but then he looked down towards Naruto, who was looking towards Kamabunta with a small frown on his face. As Kamabunta said, this little brat. Huh, you're fighting him, but who is he? As Minato said, well, he's my son Naruto, and I am fighting him at the moment. He has, you can say, revoked the law to fight me and get the position of the Hokage if he were to win. You already know about it, right? As Kamabunta was really surprised. Not many, you can say, time that kind of law is actually in vogue. After all, this law is common in every village and even in the toads or other summoning contracts clans. It is also present. As you said, oh really now? Huh, this brat really thinks that he can actually win against you, huh? Well, it seems that he must be quite arrogant. But who is he? As Minato sighed as he said, well, as I said, he's my son. As Kamabunta said, oh really now? I thought that Menma was your only son. Though he looks just like him, but with different color of hair. As you can say, Minato sighed. He did not introduce Naruto with the toads. After all, Menma does possess it, while on the other hand, Naruto has the butterfly contract as well as the slug contract from Tsunade. As he sighed, welcome Abunta, we shall discuss this later, but at the moment I need your help to defeat him. He has created one of his own jutsu. I simply cannot touch him. There is a, you can say, space-time ninjutsu he's using, stopping me from even reaching him no matter how hard I might try. But I think that there is a limit to it. If you were to tire him out, I'm pretty sure that he would be able to exhaust himself and I should be able to knock him out then. As Kamabunta nodded at that, well, brat, it seems that you have run out of luck, huh? You must be quite a tough one if you were able to give Minato a hard time. But this is the end of line. If you were to give up now, I'm pretty sure that Minato will go easy on you and you will not be punished for it, seeing that how powerful you are to force Minato to summon me. As Naruto simply looked towards Gamabunta-san, the head of the Toad clan, I would kindly request you to, you can say, dispel yourself. Your presence is not needed here, and at the moment, Your presence here will only cause harm to you. As Kamabunta looked towards Naruto and burst into laughter as he said, huh, well, you little brat, do you honestly believe that you're powerful enough to fight me off, huh? As well as my brothers here. Huh, well, it seemed that you're more arrogant than I previously thought. As Naruto simply shook his head, you have been warned. I, if you were to be here, I would have to summon someone who is higher on, you can say, hierarchy than you, and there will be a price to pay. And I do not wish that on you. I have nothing against the Toad clan, and I would kindly request you to dispel yourself once again. As Gamabunta smirked, I do not fear anyone, brat. Bring out your summon, whoever he may actually be. I will crush him with my sword, as all the other toads smirked and nodded at that, while on the other hand Minato was wondering if Naruto's summon is as powerful as he claimed. Though it does not matter, he has summoned three toads, three battle toads who have fight off against even the QB, so it should not be hard for him to take down whatever the summon it may actually be. As Naruto sighed, he wanted to avoid it, but it seemed that there is no avoiding it now, as he had made a deal and he had to honor it now. Well, Gamobunta-san, I will have to do what I have to do, but do remember you were warned. As Naruto started to go through hand sign after biting his thumb, summoning Jutsu, the king of all the summons, Godzilla. As suddenly the whole place started to shock as the clouds started to thunder even darker than they were previously as a light engulfed the area as reddish light as a summoning animal was summoned, as shocking most of the people there as a shadow covered, you can say, the most of the arena and the area as Kamabunta as well as the summoning animals eyes widened as whatever this summon was, it was towering over, you can say, all of them. As then the, you can say, the dust started to clear and they could easily see the gigantic figure of Godzilla himself as Gamabunta quickly recognized who this person or thing actually was. It was the king of all the summoning, all the monsters there is, Godzilla himself. As Gamabunta took a step back, while on the other hand, Godzilla let out a roar as we shook the area as Minato himself could not believe it. What kind of monster is this? As third Hokage sighed, he already knew what Naruto had to do. It was a deal made by Godzilla for the whole summoning contract. Even you can say as powerful as other summons are, as powerful his own summon, the summon of the, you can say, ape actually was. They will never ever dare to stand up against someone like him. After all, he was their king, he was their leader, he was the king of the monsters himself, Godzilla. As Godzilla let out a roar, as most of the shinobis were at utter shock, as if the barrier was not up, they would have been sent flying by the way the barrier was shaking with a single roar of that beast, while on the other hand, Gamabuntas, you can say, he, Gamabunta's pipe was already on the ground. He simply cannot believe the king of all the summon, the king of all the monsters was here, and he was the summon of this kid, as he was now scared, scared for his life, scared for his clan. After all, he was a clan head and he knew about the laws that were written by the king himself. As he looked toward Godzilla at utter, you can say, horror in his eyes, while on the other hand, Godzilla simply started to look around and then he looked towards Naruto. Naruto, why have you summoned me here? You already know I do not like to be summoned for trivial things, and I do not see a threat here. As Naruto sighed, he did not want to do this, but a contract was made and he will have to honor it anyways. As he decided to speak up, my apologies, Godzilla, but I have already told you what I wanted to do in the future, and that was to take the position of the Hokage. At the moment, I'm fighting my so called father, and he has summoned the clan head of the Toad as well as some fighting members. I want him to not be here, but you already know the terms of our contract, so. But he did not listen, so I had to summon you. As Godzilla let out a bloodthirsty smirk on his face, he already knew what Naruto was actually talking about as he said, is that so, huh? So, let's see who is the current head of the Toad clan. as he chuckled a little as he looked down toward the three cowering toads, while on the other hand, Minato was now confused as he looked towards God, you can say, Godzilla, and then he looked towards, you can say, Gamabunta, who was now shaking at utter horror in his eyes as he said, Gamabunta, do you know what that creature actually is? As Gamabunta speak up, Minato, you have damned us all. That is no normal summoning creature. That is the king of all the summon, the king of all the monster there is, as a single being powerful enough to kill all of us if we so desire. As Minato was at utter shock to hear that as Godzilla let out a roar as he looked towards Kamabunta. You, Toad, you dare to stand against me, against your own king, and you will pay for it. As Gambunta decided to speak up, my lord, it was never my intention. I did not knew that this no my lord, I did not knew. As Godzilla looked towards Kamabunta as he said, well, it's already too late. As he opened his mouth, as a beam started to gather inside of it, as he released the attack, as Kamabunta, along with all the other three toads, were sent flying, as Minato quickly flashed away. He was about to release an attack, but Kamabunta looked towards him, giving him a look to not do this or not to attack the king of all the summons himself, as Godzilla simply threw his tail, sending Gamabunta flying into the barrier as the barrier shattered with the force which with which Gamabunta was sent flying as Gamabunta got dispelled. As you can say, Godzilla looked towards one of the toads as he released a beam, making a direct contact with one of them, killing him immediately. While on the other hand, he looked towards the third toad, a blue one, who was now cowering in utter, you can say, horror, as you can say Godzilla smirked towards him as he grabbed him and threw him into the air as he powered up another beam by releasing it as a beam of energy released from the mouth of Godzilla as it slammed into the toad, killing him instantly. As Minato had a terrified look on his face, while on the other hand, Jiraiya simply could not believe it. Those two toads were old friends of his. He has seen them growing into the same size as Gamabunta, as they were not as powerful as his other companions, but still they were powerful enough and growing into fine warriors. As he simply could not believe it. This summon, no, this monster of a summon was able to kill two of his summons like they were nothing and dispel Gamabunta with a simple slam of his tail. Not even QB was able to do something like that, while on the other hand, Menma and Naruko simply could not believe it. After all, they were told that toads and slugs were the strongest summons out there, but yet their failure of an older brother had, you can say, a summon which dwarfed not only in power but also in size of their best summons. Like it was nothing, as Godzilla chuckled as he said, well, Naruto, you did well, even though I can tell that you still did not wanted them dead, even though they were against you. As Naruto simply sighed, he already knew the attitude of Godzilla for a really long time. After all, his test was nothing to scoff at for him to pass something like that. But in return, he had to summon Godzilla. If any, I mean, any summon was to be there, he has to be summoned to deal with them because he wanted that honor for himself. Those days were good when he used to hunt down these summoning animals till the day they accepted him as their true lord. And after that, he got bored on that and decided to take slumber till Naruto decided to, you can say, make contact with him to make him his summoning, you can say, animal, though many had tried, but none of them were worthy. As Godzilla simply chuckled as he looked towards Minato, who had a frightened look on his face, who was still unable to use his, you can say, Horizon, even though when he was on top of Kamabunta, he tried it, but he had to use Sunshine, otherwise he would have been crushed by that attack. As he was looking toward Godzilla in utter, you can say, shock and horror. He was really scared. He was not that scared when he was fighting the QB because he was able to teleport him away and being able to use many other techniques while fighting QB. But it seemed that this monster, while not being able to use Horizon and his other abilities, he was at severe disadvantage. Well, Naruto, do you want me to take care of this insect as well? As Naruto simply shook his head, no, he belongs to me. You can dispel yourself now, Godzilla. as Godzilla simply nodded at that and simply as Godzilla simply smirks and vanishes from the area as Naruto finally landed on the ground. As he looked towards Minato, as Minato looked towards Naruto with a bit of angry look on his face, he killed them. As he said those words with pure anger in his eyes, as Naruto simply shook his head. That was the deal made with the king of all summons. Gamabunta heard, should have listened to me when I warned him, but apparently he thought otherwise. As Minato gritted his teeth, even though he did not know much about those toads, but still they were a part of his summons, and he did care about them as well. As he said, "Alright, Naruto, I was going easy, but now it got serious." As Minato simply decided to close his eyes, and then, for you can say, from a distance away, you can say a clone dispelled as Minato's eyes started to change into the eyes of that of a toad. As Naruto raised an eyebrow, he already knew what this was, but then Naruto started to chuckle and then he burst into laughter as Minato was a bit confused, but he did not have time for this as he moved towards Naruto ready to knock him out. With his new power, he should be able to bypass whatever jutsu Naruto is using with pure power as Minato slammed his face on the face of Naruto as many were surprised as that now the Hokage is taking reins as Minato, you can say, used attack after attack, punching, kicking Naruto all over the place as Minato had a small smile on his face. Now Naruto is unable to use whatever that jutsu it actually was. Though effective, it seemed that Naruto has, you can say, ran out of juice, but then he noticed as Naruto was still giggling as he burst into laughter as Minato was surprised. There was not even a, you can say, ounce of blood on it as Naruto finally stopped laughing as he said, "Well, I apologize for laughing so rudely, Lord Hokage, but it was just funny that you really thought that using Sage Mode would actually work against someone like me." As Minato took a step back, "What are you talking about?" as Naruto chuckled as he said, "Well, Lord Hokage, where do you think that my infinite chakra reserves were coming from, huh? Did you not notice that I was able to summon a creature like Godzilla? I was able to use two double S rank techniques like they were nothing while keeping up a triple secret S rank jutsu with you, and yet I have yet to sweat even a little." As Minato eyes widen as Naruto simply smirked, "You got it wrong, Lord Hokage. You got it right. I am already connected to the nature to the point that I am at, you can say, infinite almost every time I walk, I talk, I am already in Senjutsu mode. And as for your little Senjutsu, as Naruto snapped his finger, as Minato's eyes widened, nature chakra was leaving his body at an alarming rate. He tried to control it, he tried to balance it, just like you can say Fukasaku and Shima taught him, which he improved during training Menma and Naruto. All that chakra left him like it was never there. As Naruto simply shook his head, "Ha, never use that technique against someone like me. It is a true level of insult to use my own power against me." As he simply shook his head. "So, do you have any other cards, Lord Hokage? Because if not, I'm getting a bit bored here." As Minato gritted his teeth as, but before he could say anything, as Naruto simply moved his hand upward, suddenly Minato freeze. His eyes were at, you can say, fixed location, looking towards Naruto. His step, which he was moving, was already freeze within mid-air. As Naruto simply shook his head as Minato was wondering what is going on here. He was able to think clearly as he tried to move his hand downward, trying to make it a fist, but the distance between his fingers to his palm was almost infinite. He could feel his fingers moving, but they were not moving at the same time as Naruto has used his space-time ninjutsu on Minato. Every, you can say, small distance travel like the moving of eyelids. What will actually happen if the distance between, you can say, one islet to another is simply infinite, as the distance simply cannot be traveled? Hell, the distance between, you can say, mouth to the lung, what actually will happen if that distance become infinite? You will be unable to even breathe. As Minato simply could not understand what was going on here. He was moving, and yet he was not moving because each and every small, you can say, travel simply became infinite and thus became impossible. for Minato, stopping him within mid, you can say, step. As Naruto simply shook his head, but then he quickly ducked as a Rasengan passes over his head. As Naruto raised an eyebrow, as it was none other than Menma. Suddenly, you can say chains erupted to the area as Naruto has also arrived within the battlefield. As Naruto looked towards both of them with a bored expression and an annoyed expression on his face. As they said, and what do you two suppose? I suppose you're doing here, huh? As Menma gritted his teeth, I do not know what trickery are you using, you bastard, but I'm not gonna let you humiliate our father like that. As I'm gonna defeat you, and I'm gonna be the one to become the Hokage, the favorite child of the Hokage. As Naruto looked towards Manma with a blank expression on his face, suddenly some change came to his face as Naruto sighed. He really did not have time for these children as he grabbed the chains, pulled it, you can say, towards him as Naruto's eyes widened as Naruto was coming towards Naruto with incredible speed as or rather pulled towards him as Menma tried to, you can say, use her Raishin as a kunai came to Naruto's face as Naruto sighed as Menma appeared with a Rasengan, but to his shock as a fist slammed into his gut. But then Naruto's eyes widened for a moment as a smirk came to his face as he grabbed Menma by the throat as Naruto appeared in front of him as well. As Naruto grabbed both of them and slammed their heads together as they were seeing stars. As Naruto's both of Naruto's hands started to glow a little as he slammed both of his hands into the gut of both Menma and Naruto as they let out a roar of scream and pure pain and agony as both of them were sent flying outside of the barrier as barrier once again came upward as Naruto noticed that Kakashi was the one who lowered the barrier as Kakashi glared towards Naruto. As Naruto simply shook his head, he will handle him when he became the Hokage. As Naruto suddenly moved backward as Minato slashed in the area. As Naruto simply chuckled as he said, as he looked towards Minato, so you came out of my jutsu, huh? I must have been distracted as Minato was panting. He has traveled almost infinite, you can say, or at least try to travel infinite distance. Each and every part of his body, even breathing, was hurting at this moment, and he was getting low on chakra with each second, summoning those three. And nature chakra being forced out of his body has really taken a toll on him. As Naruto simply sighed, he has played around enough of it. As Naruto, you can say, looked towards Minato with a serious expression, and then suddenly his body started to glow as a chakra erupted from his body. It was 10 times the amount it was before. Suddenly, all the shinobis around the area slammed into the ground, not, you can say, kneeling. This time, they were simply slammed into the ground. Even Jiraiya and Tsunade were now on their knees. This amount of chakra as thunder started to erupt in the sky once again as Naruto's body was starting to get engulfed with pure raw chakra as a golden, you can say, armor of chakra started to surround Naruto's body. Suddenly, it started to change form as Naruto had a, you can say, blank look on his face as suddenly, you can say, chakra started to erupt from the very ground as it started to came inside of Naruto as Naruto simply looked towards Minato with a blank look. It's over as he pointed a hand towards Minato as a wave of energy released from the attack as Minato's eyes widened as before he could even think of moving as the energy slammed into his gut and sending him flying through the area as energy released Minato and flew into the sky as it cleared all the, you can say, thunder that was surrounding the area. As Naruto started to calm down a little, really, he started to get annoyed there a lot as he simply shook his head and looked toward the unconscious form, or rather, he thought unconscious as Minato started to struggle and just started to stand up as he was panting hard. Blood was coming from his mouth. He was low in chakra. He simply cannot, you can say, enter into the sage mode anymore. But thankfully, one last, you can say, clone was present there who released the other, you can say, sage mode inside of him, and then he was able to recover a little bit of it, but he was unable to grasp that nature chakra as it released on his own, but still giving Minato a bit of power to withstand the attack of Naruto at the very last second. As Naruto grunted a little, this was really getting annoying as he moved with a blur as ground shattered behind him as before Minato could even, you can say, understand what was going on here. He was grabbed by the throat as Naruto slammed him into the boulder nearby, shattering it apart as Minato spit out a lot of blood, a gulp of blood as Kushina speak up. Minato, as she tried to move towards the barrier, as Kakashi was about to drop it, but then suddenly the control of the barrier simply slipped from his hand as Naruto shot him a glare. He will handle Kakashi later as Naruto threw Minato into the sky, and then suddenly a kick was slammed into the gut of Minato as Minato was sent flying into the air. And before he could even think of teleporting or even, you can say, try it, even though it's not gonna work, as he was slammed into the ground brutally, as at this point his eyes were already moving upward as he was in the midst of unconsciousness, but once again he was grabbed by his leg as he was slammed into the ground brutally, and a Rasengan was planted into his gut as Minato was launched like a bullet and slammed into the very first boulder, which you can say somehow survived, at which Naruto slammed him at the very first time. As Minato was planted in it, his eyes was already going upward as he was finally lost unconsciousness as there was dead silence in the whole area, as you can say Ambus already knew what was gonna happen here, so they were not all that surprised, while on the other hand the council members simply could not believe it. It was the very first time the law was invoked, and the very first time their so-called the strongest Hokage has been defeated like it was nothing, as Naruto simply looked toward the unconscious form of Minato, and then he looked towards the Ambo as he snapped his finger, and then the Ambu were in front of him in the kneeling position like he was the Hokage now. As Naruto looked towards the other shinobi who had, you can say, some of them has awe, some of them were angry, some of them had, you can say, utter horror or terror in their eyes. They were scared of him, or at least of his power. As Naruto looked towards, you can say, the Elder Council, as Third Hokage finally decided to step forward as he cleared his throat and looked towards Minato's unconscious form as he sighed. As per the laws of Konoha, the current ruling Hokage has been defeated by his heir, so therefore I announce Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze to be the fifth Hokage. At this, you can say all the Ambus arrived, the full force of the Ambu, as most of the shinobis were shocked to say that there were this much Ambu present in the village, as all of them kneeled in front of their new leader. As Naruto looked towards them, as one of the Ambu came with a neatly formed coat for just for him, as Naruto decided to put it on, and behind him it was written fifth Hokage. As Naruto looked towards, you can say, the council member, as he said, alright then, let's go to the council chamber. We have much to discuss about our new policies. As he looked towards, you can say, Jiraiya and Tsunade, as both of them could feel, you can say, as if he was looking through their souls. And then he looked towards the unconscious form of both Menma and Naruto. Tsunade was still trying to heal both of them, but something was wrong there. As Naruto had a small smile on his face, he has finally achieved it, even though he did not want to do this like this for the, you can say, in the first place, but that was years ago. But now it was time, it was his time. As he looked toward the faces of the Hokages, it's about damn time. But I'm gonna end this video here, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video. For the next part, you guys already know the like goal and the comment goal. Please complete it, and I shall see you, you can say, in the next video. So yeah, peace. And yeah, guys, also you can say follow me on Instagram and watch the other links as well. So yeah, peace.